Once upon a time, in a quiet little village near a big green forest, there lived a sweet and cheerful little girl. She had rosy cheeks like ripe apples, bright eyes like stars, and a heart full of kindness. Everyone in the village loved her, especially her dear grandmother. One day, her grandmother knitted her a beautiful red hooded cloak made of soft wool. The girl loved it so much that she wore it everywhere, rain or shine, summer or winter. From then on, everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One fine morning, the sun was shining, birds were singing, and the air smelled of fresh flowers. Little Red Riding Hood's mother packed a small basket filled with warm bread, a jar of honey, and a little bottle of tea. She called her daughter over and said gently, "Grandmother is feeling a bit under the weather today. I want you to bring this basket to her, my dear. But remember 3 important things. Don't wander off the path, don't talk to strangers, and go straight to Grandma's house. Understand?" Little Red Riding Hood nodded quickly and smiled. "Yes, Mommy, I'll be very careful." Her mother gave her a big kiss on the forehead and waved as the little girl set off with her red hood and a basket swinging by her side. The forest was cool and shady, with tall trees reaching for the sky and soft moss underfoot. Butterflies danced in the air, squirrels leaped from branch to branch, and birds chirped cheerfully. As she walked, Little Red Riding Hood picked a few colorful wildflowers to surprise her grandmother. Just then, from behind a bush, a large gray wolf stepped quietly onto the path. He had sharp eyes and a big nose, but he tried to smile politely as he approached. "Good morning, little one. Where are you off to on such a lovely day?" Red Riding Hood remembered her mother's warning. She hesitated for a moment, but the wolf's voice sounded gentle, and he was smiling. So she answered, "I'm going to visit my grandma. She's feeling a little sick. I have some bread and honey for her." "What a kind and caring girl you are," said the wolf, pretending to be impressed. "And where does your grandmother live?" "In a small cottage on the other side of the forest, just past the big oak tree," she said. The wolf's eyes gleamed, but he kept his voice calm. "What a lovely place. Say, if you pick some of those pretty flowers over there, I'm sure it would cheer her up even more." Little Red Riding Hood glanced at the patch of flowers. She was tempted, but she remembered her mother's words. "Thank you, but I'll just pick a few along the way," she replied politely. "I promised not to stray from the path." The wolf smiled and tipped his head. "Wise girl, safe travels, little one." And with that, the wolf trotted off, but not down the same path as Red Riding Hood. No, the clever wolf knew a shortcut. "If I reach Grandma's house first," he thought, licking his lips, "I might enjoy a little surprise feast." The clever wolf dashed through the forest, moving quickly and quietly along a secret shortcut that only he knew. His paws barely made a sound on the soft forest floor, and he smiled slyly to himself. "If I'm quick," he muttered, "I'll reach Grandma's house before that little girl does." Soon, the wolf saw the tiny, cozy cottage nestled between trees, with a little chimney puffing smoke into the air. A wooden fence surrounded the garden, where flowers swayed gently in the breeze. The wolf crept up to the front door and gave a gentle knock. Knock, knock, knock. From inside, a soft voice called out, "Who is it?" The wolf raised his voice, trying to sound like a sweet little girl. "It's me, Grandma. I've brought you bread, honey, and tea." Grandmother was surprised. Her granddaughter usually didn't arrive so early, but she trusted the voice and said kindly, "Come in, dear. The door is open." The wolf opened the door slowly and stepped inside. The room was warm and smelled like lavender and tea. There, lying in bed under a patchwork quilt, was sweet old Grandma. Before she could even greet her guest, the wolf leapt forward and, gulp, swallowed her whole in one big bite. Don't worry, Grandma wasn't hurt. It was more like being wrapped up in a big soft sleeping bag. She was safe and snug inside the wolf's belly. The wolf chuckled to himself. Now for the next part of the plan. The wolf picked up Grandma's nightcap and glasses, then crawled under the quilt in her bed. He tried to sit very still and clear his throat. "Perfect," he whispered. "Now I just wait for that little girl." His ears perked up as he heard footsteps approaching the cottage. The door creaked open gently, and a sweet voice called, "Grandma? It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." The wolf, still under the quilt, called out in a high, wobbly voice. "Come in, my dear." Little Red Riding Hood stepped inside, smiling. "Grandma, I brought you some warm bread and honey, and flowers, too." She walked to the side of the bed, tilting her head. Something looked different. "Grandma, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. "And Grandma, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with, sweetie." "And Grandma, what big hands you have." "All the better to hug you with, darling." Then she looked at the mouth. "Grandma, what big teeth you have." Suddenly, the wolf leapt up and shouted, "All the better to eat you with." And before she could run away, gulp! The wolf swallowed Little Red Riding Hood whole. But again, no need to worry. Just like Grandma, she wasn't harmed. It was soft, a bit dark, and she could even hear Grandma humming a song from inside the wolf's belly. Now full and sleepy, the wolf lay down in the bed again. He yawned, patted his round belly, and whispered, "Ah, what a delicious day." He fell fast asleep, snoring so loudly that the birds outside flew off in fright. Zzz. But he had no idea that someone was about to show up and ruin his nap. Outside, the sun rose higher in the sky, casting golden light through the trees. Birds sang cheerfully again, and everything seemed peaceful. Not far from the cottage, a kind-hearted hunter was walking through the woods. He had a strong voice, a kind face, and a big heart. He often checked on the people in the forest, especially sweet old Grandma, whom he had known for years. As he passed by her little cottage, he noticed something unusual. The door is open. That's strange, he said to himself. Grandma never leaves it open like that. He stepped quietly toward the house, peeking inside. When the hunter walked into the bedroom, he saw something quite odd. a huge gray wolf snoring loudly in Grandma's bed, with a big round belly rising and falling like a balloon. "Oh my! That's the forest wolf," the hunter gasped. "What is he doing in Grandma's house? And where is Grandma?" The hunter looked around. No one else was there. But then he noticed something very strange: the wolf's belly. It moved a little, as if someone was inside. "Wait a minute," the hunter whispered. "Could it be?" He quickly took out a small pair of scissors from his bag, sharp enough to cut cloth but gentle enough not to hurt. Carefully and kindly, he snipped a little hole in the wolf's belly. And guess what? Out popped Little Red Riding Hood. She sat up and took a deep breath. "Oh, it was so dark in there, but I'm okay." The hunter smiled warmly, then helped her sit to the side. He then cut just a little more. And soon, Grandma popped out too. Her hair was a bit messy, but she was smiling. "Oh my, thank goodness you came," she said, hugging the hunter and her granddaughter. Everyone was safe, and all three of them were so relieved they burst into happy laughter. While the wolf still lay asleep, snoring even louder now, the three friends came up with a plan. Red Riding Hood giggled. "Let's teach him a lesson he won't forget." So, with Grandma's help, they carefully filled the wolf's belly with smooth, round stones from the garden, nice and cool and heavy. Then they gently sewed his belly back up with strong thread. The wolf didn't feel a thing. He just snored and turned over, dreaming of pies and pancakes. A little while later, the wolf woke up and yawned. What a nap," he mumbled. "Time to leave this place. Wait, why do I feel so heavy?" He tried to get up, but his belly was so full of stones he couldn't stand. "Oof, what happened to me?" He looked around and saw the hunter, Grandma, and Little Red Riding Hood standing by the bed, all safe and smiling. The wolf's eyes widened in shock. Without saying a word, he leapt out the window, thump, and ran off into the woods, wobbling like a balloon filled with marbles. "I'm never coming back here again," he cried, and he never did. So what did Little Red Riding Hood learn? Always listen to the advice of those who love you. Be kind, but be wise, especially around strangers. And even when you make a mistake, you can still do the right thing afterward.